today was my birthday, and my grandson and my brother took me out to eat at one of me and my grandson's favorite places to eat. And on the way back home, I swung by McKay's. I got this book, Sovereign Ladies, and it's about Mary the First, Elizabeth the First, Mary the Second, and Anne, Victoria, and Elizabeth the Second. It's a fascinating narrative history, a brilliant combination of drama and biographical insight of the six women who have ruled England in their own names. So I saw that. And then I got this, and the cover looks really, I don't know, kind of interesting, but kind of odd. And I've never heard of this author or this person. And it says, author, spy, political propagandist, Aphra Behn, 1640 to 1689, was one of the most extraordinary figures in the history of English literature. It says it tells the story of an independent woman in a glittering but harsh society caught up in and exploiting the political, diplomatic, and sexual intrigues of her time, the first woman to earn her living entirely by her pen. She was the most prolific dramatist of her age. So we'll see about that one. Shadow of the Empress. I just read this author's book on Marie Therese, and this is about her grandmother, Marie Therese, mother of Marie Antoinette. So I grabbed it, and I've heard a lot of things about her, but I've never read about her except what was in Marie Therese. So I never pay this much for a book, but hey, I saw it and I grabbed it. I had $395 of credit at McKay's to use because I have traded in most of my NASCAR stuff and books that I read that I'm not going to reread again, and I'm only keeping the books that I really, really like because I have got 1,000 books or more, probably more, and I don't want my grandson to have to deal with all this when I'm no longer here. So, I forgot what my point was, but anyway. My credit. That's why I have so much credit. And I saw this about Coolidge to add to my presidential shelf for my presidential reading challenge. And this is a fiction. I don't really read fiction that much anymore, but I do like Edward Rutherford and Sharon Penman and Margaret George. That's her name. I do like them, and so I have the Princess of Ireland, but I don't have the Rebels of Ireland, and I'm going to use this for my mode of transportation since I did not finish the one that I was reading. I forget which one it was now, a David McCullough book that I was using for the mode of transportation. So anyway, I'm going to use this for the bingo prompt read, mode of transportation. And then, right now, I am reading Alison Weir, Queens of the Consort, and I really, really like it. And this is book 2 of that series, England's Medieval Queens. And I think it starts with Eleanor of Aquitaine, which I really, really love. And it's got some of my favorite queens in here. Isabella, Queen of John, Eleanor of Castile, which was the wife of Edward I, who mourned his wife so much when she passed. But anyway, that's why I grabbed it. And Alison Weir is one of my favorite historians, along with Gareth Russell and Dan Jones. And I really want Dan Jones' Henry V, but it's just still too high because it just came out. And I'm going to use this for the book prompt, short stories. They made history. Fascinating stories of the extraordinary people who made history. And it's got Victor Hugo, Karl Marx, Isaac Newton, Voltaire, Charles Darwin, and Daniel Defoe. And one of my books that I'm using for the book bingo prompt, Charles XII of Sweden, was written by Voltaire. So, and it's my translation prompt. And I saw this, and I've always was fascinated with how they tracked down the Nazis and, tried them or whatever they did with them. And this is one of the Nazi hunters. How Simon Wiesenthal Hunted Down the Nazi War Criminals by Alan Levy. And then I saw this, The First Man, The Life of Neil Armstrong, and I have never read anything about him. I was really young when Neil Armstrong was doing all that stuff, so I thought I'd read about him for 75 cents. And then, you know, I love Winston Churchill, and ever since I saw that movie about him, Darkest Hour, I've been wanting to read about him and his wife, and I saw this by Carlo D'Este, so I'm going to add it to my Churchill shelf. And then this is by Gareth Russell, one of my favorite historians, English historian, and it's going to be for my prompt, Shipwreck. I was going to use The Wager, but I used The Wager for my bingo book prompt. New York Times bestseller list. Right now, in March it was third on the New York bestsellers list, so I'm using that for that prompt because there was nothing else on the whole New York Times list of books that I wanted to read. So this is The Darksome Bounds of Failing World, the sinking of the Titanic in the end of the Edwardian era. And here's another Winston Churchill by Violet Bonham Carter. So I got it to add to my Churchill shelf. And I have the third book in this series. So this is, I think, the second book in the series. So I got it. And I can't believe they had Churchill by Andrew Roberts for only $2. It has never, looks like it's never even been opened. So I got it to add to my Churchill shelf. And that's my book haul. Thanks for watching. Bye.